If you'd like to learn how to make these delicious, yummy, creamy shrimp enchiladas, keep watching to learn how. Thank you. First, you're going to want to get all your things together. You're going to want peeled, deveined, tail-on raw shrimp, sour cream, cream cheese, salted butter, shredded Monterey Jack. You can shred your own. You don't have to have the pre-shredded kind. Flour tortillas, lettuce, chicken bouillon, 2 tomatoes, 1 jalapeno or 2 if you like it spicy, 1 small onion, fresh cilantro, ground cumin, granulated garlic, chili powder, sea salt, pepper, and a pepper grinder. You're also going to need a 1/4 cup of flour and milk. So first you want to put all your shrimp into a bowl and start taking the tails off. And then after you take all the tails off, you're just going to rinse the shrimp and put them to the side. Then you're going to want to take all the leaves off the stems of your cilantro. You're going to want 2 bowls because you're going to make 2 separate salsas. One's going to be a cooked blended salsa and one's going to be a fresh Pico de Gallo salsa. You start mincing your cilantro and you're going to separate it in 2, putting 1/2 in one bowl and the other half in the other bowl. Then you want to take the stem off your jalapeno. I don't really like it spicy, so I take the seeds out. If you like it spicy, just leave it as is and put it in the to be cooked salsa bowl. Then you're going to want to dice 1 of the tomatoes and put that in the bowl on the left that's going to be your Pico de Gallo salsa. And the other tomato is, you just take the stem off and put it in the other bowl for the cooked salsa. You're going to get your onion and chop it in half. You're going to use 1/2 for the cooked salsa, and you're going to dice up the other half for the Pico de Gallo. And for some reason I messed up on the video and it didn't show me cutting up the onion, but it's okay, you didn't really miss much fun. So this is your Pico de Gallo. I add a little bit of sea salt and that's it. And you just want to stir it around and then set it to the side. You're going to want to have a little pot of water, and you're going to put the tomato, onion, cilantro, and jalapeno, and you're going to want to bring that to a boil, and I'll show you soon what it should look like when it's all done. I add a little bit of salt for flavor. Here we have our cleaned shrimp that's dried out, and we're going to start adding seasonings to it. So I like to add just a little bit of the pre-made Pico de Gallo that we just made, and stir it around. Then you're going to do some fresh ground pepper, and stir it again. Then you're going to add a tablespoon of granulated garlic and a tablespoon of chili powder and a tablespoon of cumin. And then you're just going to fully mix that around, and you're going to set that to the side to marinate. So when we come back to the salsa, it should look like this, and that is done. So you want to get your colander and strain it, and then quickly put it back in the pot so you don't lose any juices, and put it in your blender. Put the top on your blender, turn your blender on, and I just like to pulse it. I don't like to do it on a certain setting, so I just pulse it until it's really nicely ground up and crushed and purified. I was trying to find the right word. You're going to add about a quarter cup to your shrimp mixture and just stir that in and set it to the side again. Then you want a pan that's already warm, and you're going to add a stick of butter, and this is to start making the sauce. You add a stick of butter and let that melt down. After the butter gets pretty well melted, you're going to add a whole container or block of cream cheese, and I make a mess when I do it, so don't laugh, please. Then you're going to want to break down the cream cheese and let that start to melt. It's going to look really weird in the beginning. It's going to be really chunky and just coagulated and funky looking, but don't worry, it'll get normal looking. You're going to add a mixture of a quarter cup of flour and a half a cup of milk, and whisk it as you add it so the flour doesn't clump up. Then you're going to add 1.5 cups of sour cream. You're going to add 2 cups of shredded cheese. And because I was a little worried that it was a little too thick, I added another 1/4 cup of milk. It was hard doing this recipe because I haven't made it for about 3 years. It was hard to remember all the ingredients and especially amounts. You're going to take your cooked blended salsa and put about a 1/4 cup or so. And you're just going to mix that in there. You're going to add 2 tablespoons of granulated garlic and a tablespoon of pepper. And I totally forgot to record it, but you're also going to add a 1/2 cube of chicken bouillon. I like to add just a little, like, 1/4 cup of paste picante salsa, or any salsa of your choice, because it adds a little acidity and stuff. It makes it taste better. I don't know, it's like a secret recipe type thing. Then I add about a teaspoon of sea salt. So your sauce should be all ready and done, and you're going to want to put a top on it and take it off the heat. Next, we're going to start cooking our shrimp. I like to use a wok style skillet. You're going to put a tab of butter in a preheated pan and just let it melt down. You don't want the butter to start turning brown, so you want to quickly add the shrimp and mix it around just to get the butter evenly coated on the shrimp. And then I like to scoot the shrimp throughout the pan up on the sides so I can get as many evenly cooked as possible. After about 3 minutes, you're going to want to stir it, bringing as many of the partially cooked ones up on top and the raw ones on the bottom. And after about 3 more minutes, your shrimp should be done. And you're going to notice that there's a lot of sauce in the bottom. You're going to want to strain that into a separate bowl and add that sauce to your creamy sauce mixture and mix it in really good. And then you're just going to put the lid back on that and set that back on the back burner. Not cooking anymore, of course. Next, we are going to warm up all of our tortillas because it's really hard to roll a enchilada with cold tortillas because they like to break and split, and it sucks. So I warmed up 14 tortillas because I have a family of 6, and you want just a deep pan. I like using my infamous pan. You put your creamy sauce in the bottom, a good large amount of it. You're going to grab a tortilla, put it in the pan like that, and you're going to scoop about 5 or 6 shrimp. That will evenly go across the whole tortilla. And you're going to roll it up and pull it to the back. And you're going to do this over and over and over until you cannot fit any more enchiladas in that pan. If you find that the bottom is running out of sauce, just add more sauce, because you want the sauce to stay on the bottom so the tortillas don't stick to the bottom. So here I am just cramming in as many enchiladas in the pan as I can. I'm determined to make at least 14 enchiladas. And if the little shrimpies pop out the side, just stick them back in. It's gonna get to a point where your pan is really full and you won't be able to really put them at the end and roll them. So that's where I just put them on the top and roll them and then shove them in after they've been rolled. So on the side there's still room for 2 more enchiladas. My son's trying to grab the enchiladas because he wants them. So now that you've crammed all your enchiladas in your pan, you're going to cover them with your creamy enchilada sauce. I don't like them like completely bathing in the sauce, so you just put it on the top, a little bit. And then you're just going to sprinkle a little bit of cheese to get nice and crusty when you bake it. And I like adding a little bit of fresh cilantro on top. I usually add more, but it was all the rest that I could pick. And this is me putting it in the toaster oven at, I believe, 400 degrees, and I put it in for 20 minutes. And 5 of those minutes, I broiled it. You're going to want to take the rest of your blended salsa and add it to your Pico de Gallo. And that is going to be a topping for your enchiladas when they're done. And here is the cooked enchiladas. Don't they look so good? And this is how I plate them. While the enchiladas were cooking, I diced up some lettuce, which is really good to put on top. If you don't like it, you don't have to add the lettuce. This is plating 2. I put the lettuce, a couple spoonfuls of sour cream, and your homemade salsa, Pico de Gallo. And this is your finished shrimp enchiladas. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, and I hope you enjoy all my recipes. Thank you.